Hi, and thanks for listening to the Clive Barker Podcast, episode 125. Now, I'm the Wicked Queen. So Ryan, that's me, Jose, and our guest, Max Lichtor from the Pyramid Gallery, are back to talk about Clive Barker news, the Hellraiser anniversary, and of course, the final round of Duels of Blood. This episode is sponsored by Don Bertram's Celebrate Imagination, benefiting Texas Children's Hospital. So Don Bertram's Celebrate Imagination is dedicated to benefiting the Arts and Medicine program at Texas Children's Cancer Center, and up to 50% of the proceeds will support the program where artist Don Bertram volunteers monthly. So please join us in donating to the program at Texas Children's Cancer Center. I love his artwork, and in fact, this year I've bought my office Christmas cards, which is 250 of them. I'm a realtor. From Celebrate Imagination. So, and there are art books coming as well. So, I'm looking forward to seeing those, and I'll tell you more about them when I get them. There's a link in the show notes on the main site at clivebarkercast.com that will take you where you need to go to get one of his prints or art books and help this wonderful program. Any friend of Clive Barker's is a friend of ours, and we thank him for his support. So I guess before we get to the Duels of Blood, we're here. I'm Ryan, and then we've got Jose.
Hi.
And Max is back with us again to talk about this final round of the Duels of Blood.
Great to be back.
It's always great. I just want to point out that today also marks the 29th anniversary of the UK premiere of Hellraiser.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. So people on Facebook have been pointing out that this is kind of the birthday of Hellraiser, and I suppose that's the first mass screening of Hellraiser would be the September 11th, right, 1987. Uh-huh. And then
right.
what was it in the U.S.?
Was it the 20-something?
Oh, okay.
28th? Or?
Yeah, so not too far behind. Yeah, and it was an American production company and filmed in the UK, right? So it's not really totally clear if it's a British movie or an American movie. It's kind of a hybrid.
Right. And, looking at IMDb, it says that on May 13th, it was in the Cannes Film Festival.
Yeah, so that's way before. That's amazing how much time went in between those.
I imagine that...
I'm sorry, I wonder if that was before some of the changes they did near the end of the movie, like some of the additional special effects things they had filmed.
Yeah. I recall that, for example, Tony Randell at the time was an executive at New World Pictures, and he was the guy who actually kind of insisted that since they still had some money left, that they would go back and they would shoot some more effects sequences, especially the Frank resurrection.
Right.
So maybe, who knows? Yeah.
And I wonder if that one was before the voices were dubbed over. That would be really interesting.
Of, like the Christopher Young theme also, it was kind of something that was put in a little later in the... so who knows?
Yeah,
I don't think there was ever a version that didn't have the voices dubbed over, but there have been... especially if you had those Anchor Bay releases from the early 2000s. They had all those trailers and TV spots that were available, and some of them, especially an international trailer, has Frank's voice as played by Oliver Parker. So you could still listen to those voices. Or is it Oliver Smith? No, I'm confused. But anyway.
Oh, yeah, Oliver Smith. Right, Oliver Parker was the moving man.
Right.
So
okay, right.
Yeah. It would be interesting to find out what that version was like. I mean, if it's just some scenes, then that wouldn't be that exciting. But
sure.
Yeah. Interesting.
Go
ahead.
But yeah, if I could just say a few more things, I would like to say that I'm looking forward to next year because it's going to be the 30th anniversary. And I always thought that Hellraiser was a very seminal film, one that I hold very close to my heart. You know, for starters, it's based on a great novella by Clive Barker. You know, and also this movie was my gateway into 80s horror. I had seen scary movies before that, but, you know, they didn't make me feel more interested in horror because I was too young and scared, you know?
Yeah.
Like, when I saw Nightmare on Elm Street, I had nightmares and I wouldn't sleep with my arms out of the bed for a couple of years. I didn't even see the whole movie, The Nightmare on Elm Street, until a few years later down the line. But, you know, I'm just very happy this movie still has such a cult following and still inspires like fan films and comic books, like the Scarlet Gospels, a whole franchise with various levels of success.
Yeah.
And there's a 10th movie coming out next year, so it's a film that definitely became a part of the horror genre, and if I can say, carved its own niche into our collective conscience with the figure of the Hell Priest, you know, the iconic pinhead, and the gilded lament configuration, like the ones that are sold through the Pyramid Gallery.
Yes.
And I wonder if maybe that for the 30th anniversary, that might be a good time for the Scarlet Box to come out in the U.S.
Oh, that'd be wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so.
Because it's not like another edition is going to top that. You know, probably not.
Well, for the time being, I guess. But in a few years from now, when everybody has like 4K televisions, there's going to be like, I'm sure, like some new format thing or whatever. And they're going to... Yeah. This is not so much double dipping or triple dipping. This is more like, I don't know, dodeca dipping. It's at this point, there's been so many releases of this that it's just... if you're a completist, man, you better have some disposable income.
Well, from a movie from 1987, can they really increase the quality beyond? I mean, like if it's already in high definition, can they do better than that?
I guess not. Celluloid is really supposed to be up to like maybe 6 or 8K resolution.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but then it depends on the physical format that they can develop in the meantime. If we're going to have another physical format, if we're not just going to go completely digital in like 10 years from now.
I think the first Blu-ray that really blew me away was The Shining, and just you could see the threads on Jack Torrance's shirt when he was being interviewed, and I was like, man, this is just amazing.
It's very impressive. If it's a good transfer, it can be very impressive.
Yeah.
I know anymore a lot of the virtual reality glasses thing is to take movies and put them in virtual theaters. So although we may not see many changes to the movie itself, there could be some really cool virtual theaters created for Hellraiser, you know?
Yeah. You brought up an awesome thing because, I'm sorry, Ryan, but I just saw that there were on YouTube 360-degree virtual reality videos for the new Blair Witch movie. So it's like a trailer where you can put on your whatever, you know, VR headset of choice and you can be inside the movie. And that's kind of revolutionary, I think.
Yeah, I was just thinking that if to do stuff like that probably would all need to be new movies, right? I mean, you can't you can't take Hellraiser and go, now you're in it and look around and there's Pinhead behind me and Kirsty in front of me.
Right. No, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Now, what I was mentioning is more the fact what they do is they actually create like a virtual theater where the film is still displayed in 2D, but your surroundings are like like a 70s theater or early 80s theater or something like that. You know,
that
could be a big thing. Yeah, when
really cool.
VR becomes more widespread.
And there would be other actual virtual people in there with you.
I suppose. I haven't really delved into it that much myself. I've seen it referenced a few times with a couple of films being shown that way.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting because I have a VR headset. It's a really cheap one, but it's a Google Cardboard headset. And you can use the Cardboard app to watch videos as well, and you can watch them inside this floating like virtual theater. And it's interesting because you just see a big screen in front of you, and you can like look around, but it's just floating there. But I'm sure if someone can create like something to put around that screen, you can have a 360-degree experience and maybe even see little avatars of people sitting down next to you watching the movie. So that's not too hard. Yeah.
So with Google Cardboard, is that like a cardboard frame that holds your phone up to your face? How does that work?
Yeah, and it's got two glass lenses, and they're set with a certain, The lenses are meant to focus right on your phone screen, and so you just put your phone in there, fold it up. There's a little Velcro thing, and you just pick it up and put it in front of your eyes, and you can experience VR. It's really cheap, though. I mean, there's plenty of there's Oculus Rift and HTC Vive and all that stuff, but this was cheap, so I just give it a try. It's been really fun.
And there's a PlayStation one, I guess, also.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't done any of that stuff at all. I keep hearing about how people are getting sick.
Yeah, that's true. And also, one of the funny things is that this whole thing where you can see a floating screen in front of you in VR actually helps people not get as sick, because when the screen, when you're inside immersive 360 video, some people don't do well with that at all, because it just makes them motion sick. But if you reduce the screen and it's not as immersive, if it's just something that's, you see a black frame around it, then it helps your brain not get sick. It's weird. I mean, I'm very interested in VR, so I've watched all these videos, and a lot of people complain about the motion sickness. But I'm sure in the future these things are probably going to be made in such a way that you won't feel that. So.
And I wonder if it's going to be have a bigger impact in augmented reality, what the Terminator sees on his eyes, or that kind of stuff, or drop down menus on real life things, to explain them, or that kind of stuff, instead of more so than, it seems like games, they're trying really hard to come up with. Games are all tech demos right now, aren't they? I mean, they're not real games.
Sure. Depending on what sort of purpose they're trying to accomplish, I guess.
Yeah.
But there's been augmented reality games for well over 10 years now, maybe. I remember my nephew playing with those Skylanders or whatever, and you could use your camera to find where they are and hunt them.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't 10 years ago, but I remember that there were things like that where you point your phone at something that has a symbol. Then that symbol inside the app will create an illusion that there's a 3D creature there. So that's, who knows, in the future what great accomplishments people can do with that.
Yeah.
To make your life funnier, as long as they don't put ads in front of our eyes all the time.
Yeah, oh God.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a hidden cost for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Going into the news, the Yattering and Jack is going to be featured in an anthology called Drive-In Creature Feature by Evil Gesture Press, which is available now for pre-order on their website, and we'll have a link in the show notes. But, Jose, do you collect... I collect the ones that have new stories that, not ones that recollect old Books of Blood stories.
Sure.
Yeah. So this isn't one that I would get, but there are a lot of other people that buy, every release that has a, Books of Blood story in it.
I guess the only reason I would find to justify buying a story that I already own is who are the other authors in the anthology. Sometimes I've found really awesome authors by just buying a cheap anthology book, and in the middle of all those stories, you find someone that actually really calls to you, and
that's true.
So those sometimes can be good. But if it's just for the sake of being completist about Clive Barker work, I probably not.
Yeah.
But this anthology has really awesome writers like Joe R. Lansdale, Mike Mignola. Why not?
Yeah, I think I discovered Poppy Z. Bright and Ramsey Campbell because of these kind of anthologies that have Clive Barker stories in them. Oh, cool! Yeah,
like Poppy Z. Bright. That's a whole story in itself. Poppy Z. Bright actually now is a trans man, and
really?
He quit writing. Yes, he quit writing, and now he's a very happy trans man, and he changed his name as well. I remember reading Swamp Fetus because I saw a little story that was back in the day when the Penguin Classics used to have little short stories in like single form. Mm-hmm. They were just like a few pennies or a few pence or whatever. And I would buy those little Penguin things, and I would sometimes discover new writers through that. So one of them was Poppy Z. Bright. And then I got Swamp Fetus, and it blew my mind. But, yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, I think I've only read short stories of hers. I guess hers back then. There's also a limited supply of Imaginer 1 and 2. So the Imaginer 3 is available now to buy, and the remaining supplies of Imaginer 1 and 2 are available at... they've been moved over to Clive Barker Archive with Phil and Sarah. So whatever's left over, people can still get.
Mm-hmm. That's good. I mean, I still haven't got them, but I'll get them eventually.
Yeah.
I guess I have number 2, so yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I have 1 and 2, but I have yet to buy number 3. I still need to do that.
Yeah.
And, the Nightbreed audiobook. So this is really strange, isn't it? This was brought to our attention by Phil and Sarah, and the more I looked into it, I think it came out last year, in 2015. But... yeah, there's an MP3 audiobook version of the movie Nightbreed. So it's like the soundtrack with everything, all the dialogue and sound effects and music and all. It's just basically you're watching the movie with your eyes closed.
Yes, and I can't fathom why this exists, because this is especially because they sell it in an MP3 form, and it's an MP3 download, basically of the theatrical audio track of the movie Nightbreed. And it's like, what is the purpose of this? I don't know. It's strange, but Brilliance Audio and Morgan Creek decided that they wanted to put this out. So I guess for them, it's just another stream of revenue on their property. And I mean, for completists out there, I'm sure they'll buy it, but it's like $6.95 for an MP3 file.
Yeah.
If you already have the movie, there's really no point in buying this.
Well, and they have 2 ways to buy it. You can get an MP3 audio CD, which is kind of like, what's the point of that? This will be about, probably not even 200 megabytes of audio, and then, there's no point in putting this in the audio CD, but
so
whatever.
Is this the theatric release or the director's cut?
Actually,
it's a theatrical. I asked Phil and Sarah, and they said it's a theatrical. So it makes it even double useless, in my opinion.
Okay. Awesome.
Anyway.
Way to go, Morgan Creek.
Yeah.
So maybe if you're out there listening and you say, hey, that's awesome, maybe you can tell us why in the comments, because I think we're a little baffled about it.
I guess. You can just as easily play the movie and look the other way, or turn off your TV or something. I don't know. Just listen to it through the sound bar.
Yeah.
But I don't even see this as being useful, for example, for like visually impaired people, because it's like
they could do the same. They could do what you just said. They're just watching the movie.
It's an unabridged version, and there's no visual support for people like there is, for example, in subtitles for the hearing impaired. Right. This one is actually just the unabridged sound of the movie.
Well, that's true. So there'd be no descriptive audio telling you what's happening on screen, or
right, yeah.
So that's strange.
Yeah.
The only time I've heard anything like this done before, there was a company that re-recorded Prisoner TV show using their own actors and their own musicians and everything. But it was the same story. So, I just like the old serial myself the way it is. So there's no real reason to get something that's recreated. But I just don't understand why you would release the actual audio from the movie. It's just kind of crazy.
Yeah. It's a symptom of executives looking at a movie and seeing content and just thinking we can just chop up this content, sell it, and get another stream of revenue, I guess. But, nobody's forcing anybody to buy this. So basically that's that's the limit of my criticism of it.
And it cost them almost nothing to produce this and to distribute it, so...
Very true.
Well, except they're selling it on CDs. I mean, that's odd.
Sure. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
If you remember, this book came out maybe in 2015, I think. It was called Horrorology. It was a hardcover, a very beautiful hardcover, edited by Stephen Jones, and illustrated on the cover by a Clive Barker painting and also by Clive Barker sketches on the inside. Now it's getting a paperback release. This book features a short story from Clive Barker, Afraid, which also appears in the Tonight Again little book of erotic poetry and prose.
And I think this was the first appearance of Afraid, because it was before Tonight Again was published.
Mm-hmm. I think there was also another story. I think it might have been Afraid that appeared in like a Kindle-only anthology.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or maybe that was Dolly. I can't...
Yeah. But anyway, the book is really nice. It's got awesome stories in there. I have it. I recommend it. And, just for the cover and the illustrations inside, they're really, really amazing. So if you can't afford to buy the hardcover or you can't find it, you got the paperback.
As we're recording this today, like you had mentioned earlier, this is September 11th. So back on the 7th was Doug Bradley's birthday. So happy birthday, Doug.
But that's cool. Yeah, so he posted a picture saying thank you to his fans, accompanied by his dog.
Yeah.
And they were both sticking out their tongues. So I think he had a good birthday. So happy birthday, Doug Bradley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, at Monster Palooza in Burbank, there's going to be lots of stuff available to buy. They have an Imagineer art card set, Terry Cat. Well, actually, not all of this is at Monster Palooza, right? A bunch of this is just you buy it from the Clive Barker, realclivebarker.com.
Yeah, I just want a little correction. It's the son of Monster Palooza convention.
Right.
Yeah, Monster Palooza convention already happened. This is going to be the son of Monster Palooza.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some stuff, some goodies, editions of the Scarlet Gospels that have, signed and sketched on the inside with like a sketching of Pinhead or whatever. Just like they did for another convention where they had Books of Blood signed and sketched. So they're doing the same with the Scarlet Gospels. It's got a lovely cover by David Mack. And I'm sure that they're going to go like hotcakes. And there's also going to be a raffle in Son of Monster Palooza where you can win original Clive Barker art, I'm guessing like ink sketches, signed Terry Cat print, Terry Cat coasters, and a replica of the Lament configuration that was being sold through the store some time ago. It's the one that comes in a wooden what do you call it, a base. So, unfortunately, that's the only thing about that box that I just... It's like people want to pick it up and look at it, and play with it. When you stick it in a base, in a wooden base, it's just kind of like it becomes just more of a decoration prop. But it's still cool. It's a replica of the one that's on Clive Barker's desk.
So that brings us to the finale of Duels of Blood. So for people that have been following along,
Duels of Blood.
The final round was between Julia from Hellraiser and Cabal, or Aaron Boone, from Nightbreed. And it was it was very close. So actually, most of the time that I looked, it was back and forth between the two.
Yeah, every time I looked, it seemed like it was the reverse of what the final vote was. It seemed like Cabal was getting 60% of the vote as opposed to Julia's 40%. So it surprised me when it finally ended. It was kind of reversed.
Yeah. Last time I checked the website, I have to say I also saw Cabal well over Julia with about 150 vote difference. And I saw someone else sharing this on Occupy Media and saying, "Hey, Cabal is losing," and I was like, "What?"
Yeah. I know.
Julia beat Cabal. I'm happy with the result. They were both great characters. They both deserved to win.
Yeah.
So we finally came to this finale. And whether you found this website through our episodes or Pyramid Gallery's shares on Facebook or just by accident on someone else's Facebook feed, I just want to tell our listeners, thanks for voting. You really made this fun and exciting for us. And I have to say, I was surprised on how many votes all these duel rounds had. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was a fun thing too. And of course, for the person who submitted some art for us, we'll be sending that T-shirt out. So I guess Julia is now the evil queen.
Yeah. Woohoo!
So take your best shot, Snow White.
I actually was rooting for Julia. I have to confess, I did vote for Julia when I saw the Cabal was winning. I waited the 5 minutes and I voted I started making these little scratches on a piece of paper, and I was like, oh God, I gotta add some votes to Julia. But then I just voted 8 times on Julia, and I quit.
I voted,
because I was like, there's no way I could beat the trend.
I voted for Cabal. I voted for the people who were the nicest to me, the actors who were the nicest to me. I know that's probably petty.
Sure.
That's petty, but
So you got to meet Clare Higgins?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I mean, she was nice and everything. It was just there was a weird thing where Russell had gone around to everybody and told him that my autographs should be for free because of Occupy Midian. And this is not something to complain about at all, but she kind of
makes it awkward, right?
It was, yes. So I had to sort of try to bring it up, and Clare Higgins was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." So I was like, "All right, fine. Here's my,
yeah,
$200."
Well, you started this whole thing about Duels of Blood back when March Madness was ongoing, and it's impressive that we started from 64 characters. There's still plenty of Clive Barker characters to use next year. I mean, I for one can't wait to see what strange pairings we'll be seeing on the Duels of Blood 2, hopefully.
Yeah. We'll have to take some time to think about that. And if you're listening out there and you have some ideas of how you would want this to run, let us know. This was our first time trying it out, so not everything was perfect. I would have liked to see the Chatterer last longer than he did, but he started out against Pinhead, which was a difficult thing.
Yeah. Were you hoping for? Which one were you rooting for, Max?
Of course, was going for Julia. Nightbreed was kind of the movie that I watched because I loved Hellraiser so much, So, the original concept of that's Barker to me is Hellraiser, and as much as Nightbreed is still the same thing, it's just that was my initial contact with Barker was through Hellraiser. So
yeah, absolutely.
Kind of rooting for Julia.
Yeah.
Hellraiser will always be Hellraiser.
Yeah. So we made it through, I guess. Yeah. Well, we'll keep this website going. For next year.
Yeah, that's cool. And, it was fun to do this with Max of Pyramid Gallery. And I got to say, if you've been following Pyramid Gallery's page as well as ours, you may have seen a lot of great photos of the Days of the Dead event in Louisville, Kentucky, that took place on the 2nd to 4th September.
Yeah. So,
including, I saw some pictures of an amazing Uncle Frank holding the box. Was that Chris Blair?
That was actually a friend of ours. He actually goes by the name Frank Cotton on Facebook.
Excellent. Because I saw Frank Cotton, but I thought it was just for fun that you tagged.
Right. Yeah, this is actually his web. That's what he goes by as far as that's his major costume, I think.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing. It was really good. And I also saw a fantastic sculpture with all the Cenobites' faces. I think it was from Patrick Hart, Studio Patrick.
That's right. Yeah, he's actually live in the same city as he is here in Kansas City, and we get to do a lot of shows together. But that was he was working on that all weekend, and I think he pulled that the canvas out on Sunday morning. So he had been working on that all weekend, and he had it up less than probably a half hour to 45 minutes. It was sold, but the person who bought it actually had I know Doug and Simon actually sign it.
That thing was amazing. I'm actually, stricken that he worked in it only a weekend, because it's really good.
Yeah, I don't know how much he had done before the weekend, but I know he was working on that piece in his room. He was, so he brought that in Sunday morning, and it was really popular. It was set up right across from our table, so it was a really cool view.
Yeah. And I saw a bunch of cool box models, some of them signed by all the Cenobites. How was that experience? Was there a panel with all the Cenobites? Did you get to see any of that? This was the big reunion.
I didn't get a chance to attend much of that because I was minding the table when they were doing all that. But they had a photo op where people could get their photos with all four of the Cenobites. Trying to think, I know they did a panel as well, but I didn't get a chance to attend that at all. I missed quite a bit of those, because that's generally I'm making sales the same time that that's happening too. So
sure, you got to work. Yeah, that's what you're there for. That's where you get the booth.
Right.
Yeah. You got to find somebody to sit in so you can see stuff.
Yeah, there's times I could do that, but generally it just depends on how crowded it is, and a lot of those panels take place during the busiest times, like on Saturday and stuff.
Yeah. What if you moved if there's like a Hellraiser panel, can you move your whole table inside of the where the Hellraiser panel is?
Yeah, I've never seen it work quite that way. That'd be quite an undertaking. Right. I don't know if I'd want to do that twice during a show, but
yeah, just all those people would be like, hey, I don't know.
Yeah, you trapped in this room with us now. Buy a box.
Yeah.
We're not letting
sometimes
you
out. the convention goes to you. I mean, I also saw a lot of cosplayers holding the box, and there was a costume contest at Days of the Dead. So some of those people holding the box at your booth, they were amazing. There was a guy with like a wolf armor, like a bloody wolf armor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was really cool.
Yeah, it was crazy. They had like two little girls that were like killed by Freddy Krueger or something holding the box.
Right. Yeah.
So creepy.
So you just good Edward Scissorhand too.
You just institute a policy: if you touch it, you bought it.
Right. Well, definitely. Whenever somebody shows up in cosplay, I always like getting photos with the people that are there anyway. So it's always cool to have them pose with the box and everything. So.
Yeah, that's cool. A lot of great pictures.
Thanks.
I just want to tell our listeners, if anybody out there has more cool pictures of Louisville, Kentucky's Days of the Dead, please send them over to us or share them on our wall or Pyramid Gallery's wall, because we'd love to see more of this stuff.
And also in the past with we've taken the audio and put it on our feed, from things like the panels,
Oh, cool! Yeah. Yeah, I'll be interested because a lot of times I can track down some of those panels down after the fact, after I get back. But this is actually the first time I even thought about it since I got back, last weekend. So.
Yeah. So what's next? Now you're going to go to Spooky Empire in October in Orlando?
Yeah, Orlando, Florida. That's a big drive for me, but it was a good show last year, and there's going to be the whole Cenobite reunion, and I'm unsure if Imogen will be attending or not. She had a good time this time, but she's actually is with child again. So
excellent news!
Yeah,
awesome.
So I don't know.
Congratulations.
She's going to talk to her doctor and see if she can make it to Orlando, but I'm not sure how far along she is. So.
Congratulations to Amy Boo.
yeah. On Facebook, she goes by Amy Boo.
That's going to be like almost 1,200 miles. Wow, you're driving, of course.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So I haven't worked out the flight schedule yet. So.
Do you put all that stuff in a trailer, or how do you?
I generally get like an SUV of some sort, just load it up.
Oh, okay.
We're getting to the place, though. If I add anything more to the gallery, I'll have to probably hook on a trailer as well, which would save me some space. But that's. We'll be doing this show in Spooky Empire in Orlando with an artist known as Chris Watson. He does a lot of like sketch work and facial pictures of the different like Cenobites and. Michael Myers and all kinds. He also does rock stuff like Alice Cooper and things like that. Cool. So, yeah,
that sounds pretty amazing. Just as a last question, I have what was the most successful model of the box that you offered your customers? Out of curiosity.
You mean as far as the boxes themselves?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Lament configuration is always the most popular because that's the one to identify. The Lost is a favorite too. The Lost configuration that Anna Lovat contributed artwork towards. And there's Paul Kane's The Scribe is always popular. We actually were presenting Derek Neal's Scarlet, or not the Scarlet, the
Servants, right? Yeah, the red one.
In honor of Paul Kane's release of Sherlock Holmes and the
and the Servants of Hell.
Servants of Hell. I was going to say Messengers of Hell, but there it is, Servants again.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I've seen pictures of that, but it would be interesting to see it in person.
Yeah.
We've shared a live video that Derek Neal did like the other day. He was etching panels, and he was doing a live video, and I think we share that on the podcast page as out of curiosity, because it's always a fascinating process on how these things are made, the panels. So that's cool. Oh, they're coming.
Yeah, coming for me.
All right. Well, the Duels of Blood is over, but they're not probably going to be gone for good. Hopefully next year we'll come up with a second Duels of Blood, and we're going to have a great time. We're probably going to have a new graphic with all the matches to post up tomorrow or something on the website. And look out for that. And that's going to be great. So you can keep it for posterity to know.
It's going to be great to see what characters you guys actually arrange for the next one, because some of the choices you made were obvious for this one because they're the most well-known characters, so it's going to be cool to see which characters you actually dig out of all the stories that Clive's told.
Yeah, right on. The Books of Blood is going to have a lot of characters there, and I think also, now that we're talking about Books of Blood, I remember, I think Tony Todd is going to be in Orlando, right? I think.
Yeah, I can't remember. I know that he canceled out on one of the shows that I'm going to be attending, but I can't remember if it's Spooky Empire or Days of the Dead. But
we'll check that.
All those shows constantly, especially when you get nearer to them, people drop out and are added on at the last minute. So
happens.
They got quite a roster building up for this Spooky Empire with, like I think we mentioned before, like Weird Al and the cast of Stranger Things.
That's awesome.
Wonderful.
It's going to be a great show. So, and of course, all the Cenobites. So it's going to be a really fun show.
Yep. As the last section of our episode, I guess we can tell you what's going on with the Clive Barker podcast is that we put out a Nightbreed audio commentary, right, Ryan?
Yeah, for the director's cut. So you can watch that. That actually was our, I think, the last thing that we recorded. That's in our audio feed. So take a look at that, or you can find it on the website. And it was, of course, the director's cut version. Which was fun.
I could cue that up. I can cue that up to the movie itself, like if I'm on Netflix or whatever, and I should be able to cue that up. Excellent.
We used the Blu-ray version, so the only difference is there's a little intro by Clive Barker at the beginning on the Blu-ray versus Netflix. It skips that part.
Okay.
But
yeah, I hope that's entertaining, and I know sometimes we don't talk too much about what's happening in the movie because we don't want to make it an obvious commentary like now Boone is in the car, he's going to go to the police station, like Schwarzenegger's commentary tracks are usually done. If you ever heard of Schwarzenegger commentary track, it's him saying, "Oh, in this section, I shoot this guy, and then I'm gonna, go over there." It's like, that's not what they want to hear. They want to hear like behind the scenes stories and stuff like that. But
I'm sure the things you guys see on screen influences what you guys are talking about. So you should be able to follow the train of thought just by watching alongside. It should be fun.
Yeah,
sure.
And it was the first time we've seen the movie since that LA premiere that we went to in 2014 in July, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, I've seen the work print of Nightbreed since then, but not the director's cut. So that was another. It was nice to refresh on that. And what else have we been doing? I've been working hard with Rob and Ryan on our mini doc for Hellraiser Bloodline. So, but presently working on, fine-tuning my editing skills and my animation skills to put little, flair here and there in the documentary. It's probably going to rely a lot on having a lot of photos, appearing through the narration. But and there's some cool stuff that I'm working on, like trying to come up with one of the alternate endings for the Hellraiser Bloodline movie. One of them was actually cool. It was at the end of the movie, and of course I'm saying this, but I'm hoping that people have already seen Hellraiser Bloodline, so spoiler. But at the end, when the space station Minos folds into a box, Doug Bradley once told in several interviews, including one to Paul Kane on his Hellraiser Movies and Their Legacy book, that one of the drafts of the script, I'm assuming this was the rewrites done by Rand Ravage, that when the Minos station would turn into the cube, instead of exploding, you would see a giant hand come in from space, pick the box up, and then it would dissolve into Le Marchand back in the 17th century or whatever, putting the box on his desk and saying, "Ha-ha, done," and that would be cool because that would be like a time loop thing,
Right.
Yeah. So in some ways, the first Hellraiser kind of ends like that because you see the Kirsty and the other guy are just like zoom into like the panel of the box, and then we dissolve to see the bazaar again where the guy is selling the box again. So that's cool. So yeah, watch out for that. It's going to come out this year, and we're working on it. We're looking at locations that were used for the movie, places where they shot the movie, like an old pasta factory and stuff like that. So we can still find some of those locations, including the palace that the big mansion that they used as Duke de Lille's Chateau de Rêve. It's actually a place in Los Angeles. So
okay. Yeah. So you're actually you're going to visit these places with cameras and everything, or
no? Some of these places don't exist anymore, but we found. Obviously, this mansion exists, but I'm not going to Los Angeles. We have pictures of those places and show like the ballroom and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
And actually old pictures. I don't even know if some of these locations you can visit them, but we definitely have some black and white pictures of the ballroom where Adam Scott introduces Valentina Vargas to Mickey Cottrell. And that was the ballroom, actually, where they shot that scene all alone in this dark, dark world. So, yeah, look out for that. It's been taking a little time to get things up to par instead of just making a cheap video on YouTube. We're really trying to make this as good as it can get. So,
cool.
Yeah, we might even be able to contact Valentina Vargas and ask her a few questions for this. So stay tuned.
Oh, excellent.
And coming up next, our next episode is going to be in Magica. So it's been a long time coming. We kind of worked our way through all the books up until Magica, and that's where we're at.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah,
it's going to be great.
You've never covered a Magica before?
No.
Really?
No, we've because every once in a while we do a novel, but we don't do them super often.
Yeah, and also we tried to go almost chronologically through Clive Barker's books.
Yeah.
But this one, it was kind of a daunting thing to tackle, so we kind of like ended up putting it, on the back burner. But now that we have the Kickstarter and we promised as a goal that we would do an episode of the Magica, there was a stretch goal where one of our fans, one of our listeners, Ben Warren, is going to be in the episode with us. So we're looking forward to talking about Magica with him because...
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just going to be one episode, or how many episodes will it be?
Probably just one. Hopefully we can, yeah. In the past, we've done it where we go chapter by chapter, but we won't be doing that this time. I think it'll just be more discussion and...
Yeah. To preserve like the story, we don't want to spoil anything because we think it's such an awesome novel that people really have to experience it themselves. Nobody else can tell you if the book is good or not. You have to go and read it and experience the big journey of the Magica.
This time around, I've been reading the audio, or listening to the audiobook, which is I don't do that very often, and so to sort of keep myself grounded in reality, or in, what I'm comfortable with. I also took out the hardcover, and I follow along with a bookmark and move it into the chapters that I'm on, until I found out that this audiobook is based on the 2-book version of Magica. So they're like, book 2, chapter 1. I'm like, oh man, now how am I supposed to find my...
Well, you just go to the next chapter on your big book. So
yeah, but if I get through like 3 chapters, then I have to just remember the last thing they said and sort of flip through the pages until I get there.
Wow, I can't believe we're actually going to do a Magica soon. So it's going to be episode 126 is going to be a Magica.
I've got about 200 pages left before I'm finished with it, so it'll be pretty quick. I should be finished with it this week.
Excellent. So this was the Duels of Blood finale. It was a really funny thing to do. The winner, the big winner, the Queen of Hell, has been Julia. So to everybody who voted, huge thanks, and keep listening to us and give us a review on iTunes, please.
Yeah, we'll probably have to find a way to forward this to Clare Higgins so she can see the results.
Oh, cool, yeah. I don't even know if she's on Facebook.
Maybe Twitter.
Okay, cool.
Seems like a lot of celebrities are on Twitter. We'll see if we can hunt her down somehow.
Let's track her down.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Thank you for being with us through this series of rounds, Max. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, it's been really fun. I think the first episode of this, I was confused because I thought we were actually going to go into the combat, of each character against each other. I found out really quickly it's just a popularity contest. So.
Well, we could do that. It's kind of funny sometimes. Like, Julia just would have a hammer, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Sure, why not? That's a hammer versus
Cabal.
Cabal's.
He does say blades are no better than bullets, but he never said anything about a hammer.
Right.
So maybe that's his secret weakness.
Well, she could do a number on Pinhead for sure,
Oh! Oh, good one. Good one. Well played. That was the best.
In all the years that we've thought about and talked about Hellraiser, nobody's ever brought that up that I'm aware of. That's a good point.
That's an excellent joke to end the episode on, Max. Thank you for that hilarious note.
All right.
Wow, thanks.
Thank you. You can find the show notes for this page and lots of Clive Barker news and features at www.clivebarkercast.com. Leave comments there or get them directly into the podcast by clicking the Send Voicemail tab on the right. Please follow us on Twitter at BarkerCast or at Occupy Midian. Like us on Facebook and join the Occupy Midian Facebook group. You can listen on the site or subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, TuneIn, Pocket Cast, Google Play, and Double Twist. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Please take a couple of minutes to leave us a review on iTunes. It means the world to us and helps us spread the word about Clive Barker. The Clive Barker Podcast, or BarkerCast, is an independent editorial fan site and podcast that is not affiliated with or under contract by Clive Barker or Seraphim Films. This is a labor of love by the fans for the fans.
Thanks for listening.